real, true, educational, not fake news. And welcome back. This is about 10 hours after I made 17R on Wind on Its Knees and the Eddie O'Connor video. And this is 17S. And it's wind again, and it's on its knees. And the first signs of a crack coming in that industry. Now, there's just a few wee points about a video 17R on rah and the example I gave. I used it only as an example. John Dooley is not quite happy in saying that it's an 11 megawatt outfit. It's a 12 rated, but he makes the point that that site is only fit to hold 2 turbines. There should be one at either end. It's not large enough to hold 5. I kind of think you might get away with 3 and have a bit of a reduction in capacity, but 5 is too much. And so what exactly the rated output of that wind farm is very hard to know. Here's something. I drew a map here. This is roughly the way they are. If you take this here as north, they're actually where I am here. They're round like that, like a banana, kind of, or like a quarter moon, with the back of it away from me here. So it's like that from where I am here. But this is it here. There's north. So you can see that when the wind comes from the north, a whole heap of them are going to be in each other's ways. So there's going to be a problem there with wind wake. Even the northwest, if it comes from the northwest, then that's this way. So you have these two here in trouble, right? If it comes from the west, it would appear to me that it's not too bad. Although there is problems where they're even straight. There is problems because the way the wind behaves. But we're not going to that. Then the southwest, which is prevailing wind, this one is in this one's way here. So you really have a problem here in the southwest with this. And the east wind, something similar. Not the direct east wind. So the direct east and the direct west would be the best. Once it goes to vary, then they're going to have problems there. What is its output? We can't agree. It could be 8.5, might be 9, might be as low as 7. Don't forget Gartanan in December and November and December 2007. John got that checked, and it never gave any more than 5.5 megawatts, and it's a 15 megawatt outfit. So it's not that good, but it doesn't really matter. The example is what counts really, to get the point across and to explain this rather complex thing to you people. Now I just want to, on that, and this is a very short video, so you'll not be kept very long. I just want to say that following on from that video, 17 or this is now 17S, we look at just the consequences. At present, wind is 7.6 per kilowatt hour, or 76. Now we're going to deal with kilowatts, units, domestic units. So 7.6 now. It's 5.7 for the fossil fuel on average, and add the 2 up and divide by 2 and you get the average of 6.6. So the wholesale price for the unit of electricity here that I'm using now is 6.6. Okay. Now, the next thing then is that if it goes up to the price, how much extra will it be? Now, what you actually pay in retail is 26. See it here? 26. So the wholesale price is 6.6, the retail is 26. So 4.1 times. So it's 4.1 times. So the retail generation cost is only really a quarter of what you pay. Now the next thing then is, if we take 6.6 from 26 is what you pay, roughly that's what I pay, you get 19.4 is the difference between the wholesale and the retail price, and that's transmission, all sorts of things, billing, the whole thing, ESB networks, the whole shebang. So 19.4 is what it takes to get this electricity to you, okay, and get the meters read and all that type of thing. Now 19.4, just in case I said 19.6, 19.4. Now, if we take it that just a second here now. Yeah, I just had to collect my thoughts there for a moment. Right, what I'm saying is that in the scenario where the wholesale price would rise to 200 euros a megawatt hour rather than 76, there'd be some increase on the difference on the standing charge. There probably would be something more, because you'd be shifting a lot more expensive electricity, and we'll assume that there'd be increases for all kinds of reasons, bringing these wind turbines online and all that sort of stuff. So I'm moving this figure of 9.4 as a difference between wholesale and retail to 25. I'm increasing it, which is only modest. It's very little, but there would have to be some little increase. And now we add the new wholesale price of 200 pence. Remember, euros and pence, megawatt, kilowatt, they correlate, they're the same thing. So now, just to explain, at present we pay 26 cent, 6.6 is for the generating, that leaves 19.4 for the standing charge. Now we have 25 for the standing charge, that's only a very small increase, and 200 for the wholesale price, bring it to 225. Okay, 225. Okay. So your 26 cent unit would now become 225. See that? And that's roughly an increase of 5 times, I think. So I worked that out here now, and I divided 26 into 225, and I got 8.2. So now your bill will be 8 times higher, 8.2, 8 times would say higher. So the ordinary domestic household bill will go up 8.2 times. So that's that, okay. Alright. Now, hope I can keep my thoughts here. Now, don't forget this, to achieve this, Eddie O'Connor wants the fossil fuel to be heavily penalised, and that would mean that not only will electricity prices go up, but other things will go up, all energy go up, and there's 4 times, if you take 4, as the total energy, 1 is electricity, and there's 3 other parts then, which is for other things like the farmers using it for making hay and all that, and transport, heating, all that type of thing. Anything other than electricity. So that would mean that your 76 cent, I think a gallon of heating oil at the moment, a litre of heating oil at the moment, at the pumps I seen there, I was getting fuel in my car, and I just looked, and I think that's roughly what it is in the south. It's a bit less, it's about 62 in Northern Ireland for home heating oil. So that'll go from 76 to 240, €2.40 from 76, okay? And of course all fuels that go the same. A bag of coal will go from 14 euros for the medium grade coal to 46, okay? So that's all right. So now, I think I have that shown to you, just how, in order to get an attractive rate, and that's only a very poor rate, it's only something like 230 euros for 1,000 invested over 21 years. In order to get that, you'd have to do what I'm after showing you there. Increase prices by 8 times, or 8.1 times. So that brings it home. I think that crystallises that to show you how ridiculous this whole thing, and how Eddie O'Connor is either so misinformed or he's bluffing. No amount of increasing fuel prices can do anything in this case. And remember, there was no wind at all last year for 4 or 5 months. Now, one of the things people might expect me to do, and this is the word crash, and I just want to use another minute, is to predict that the whole economy is going to collapse. Europe, the euro, the whole lot. Now that may happen, or it may not happen. Certainly I'm not going to do it at this stage, because I simply haven't done enough research. It took a lot of research to get this on the wind, to come to the point where I can now say it either collapses or it gets a massive bailout. Now the bailout here is at least 225 million a year. Don't forget, Borden Amon is getting 31 million a year, and we think that ESB will soon need a bailout as well. That'll be maybe a year down the road, and RTE is looking for a bailout. So all these public institutions are behaving irresponsibly. They're not applying proper business acumen. They're not using due diligence. They know they have the state behind them. So we, the taxpayer, will have to stump up. I just want to alert you of that. So I'm not saying that anything's going to happen. There's something very funny in the markets, and you can Google economic crash, euro crisis, and get it there on YouTube, and there's some excellent, really good programs. Never mind looking at how Egypt's cooking burgers and making apple tarts and bologna like that. Don't be looking at that out cracking neighbours and neighbour, and they go on for 40 years and they still have the same characters doing the same thing and achieving nothing. Don't bother looking at that. Go and look at economic crashes, the euro and all that, and get an idea of what they're talking about. Now, one thing is very unusual. Interest rates are negative, folks, in most of the world, or they're very near negative. And they can't put it up in Europe because the Greece and Italian economies won't be able to pay back the bonds. And I think we all got a sharp lesson in bondholders and all that in the economic crash here in 2008. So it's well worth looking at some of those videos. If you Google those words, you'll get the stuff up, and they're very good. So what could happen? I mean, the asset values in wind are overvalued. The people are being asked to contribute more. I mean, we're a wealthy enough country, a wealthy enough Europe too. And the problem is that every time we make a shilling or a pound or a euro, they take it off us. But if Deutsche Bank goes, now most people say it's too big to go, that the ECB will back it no matter what happens, and I think that's probably right. And if they don't have the money, and now they have Brexit going on, if that goes ahead, and if Boris Johnson gets in, there will be some form of Brexit, there's no doubt. But if that goes ahead, the trouble the ECB will have is money. Where will they get money? Now don't forget, there's a lot of industry running out of Germany at the minute. Very bad reports out of Spain, Italy, Greece and all that. And Britain may do fairly well. Ireland is caught with this energy nonsense and a virtually communist government, and all our politicians are virtually communist, and so it doesn't look good. So the point really is that what would happen if Deutsche Bank had a crisis? Can they bail it out? The only way I can see they can bail it out is borrow in dollars or sterling and pump it into it, or print euros, in which case the value of your euro will go down. Give them a whole heap of printed money. So instead of, for 100 euros, every 100 euros in the Eurozone, there'll be 125. That would help them a wee bit. There's a lot of trouble with that. Now, the first thing will happen if the bank goes down that size, it's 5 times the size of Lehman Brothers, is there could be problems getting money out of the hole in the wall, because there's a lot of interbank lending. Anyway, it's too terrible to think about. I certainly don't want to see that happening. It's sad, but it would finish this energy nonsense and this global warming baloney, but it's at a terrible price. And much better if the people would support election candidates who would try and do something about it and put a stop to this nonsense right now. If it looks like it's going to go, I'll start maybe doing a video or two. I might do it a bit more. But one of the things I would be doing if I was anticipating an economic crash is getting my money into sterling and dollars. And there's no doubt if you had $10,000 in such a situation, you'd be a lot better off than 10,000 euros. Sterling maybe too. Sterling is a bit linked into Europe. I wouldn't be too sure of it. I have no doubt if the crash is coming, you'll see a fly out into dollars. They'll buy dollars, and they reckon this is going to cause a problem for America because there'll be a shortage of dollars. They won't be able to give the people dollars. The workers won't have the dollars. Not that the workers won't earn it, but there'll be a shortage of dollars, and they won't want to print it. That'll cause inflation. So they don't want you and I having a box of dollars under the bed. And this brings the question of security. You know, these are euros here. Here's a 50 euro note. You know, having them lying around, and if it becomes known to criminals that people are hoarding thousands of dollars, it's a problem. So you'd want to have it kept very quiet. and you'd want to have it kept secret, and its hiding place secret. You'd want to have a bit of it hid in other places, that if you get attackers in armed to beat you up and take your money, that you can give them something without giving it all. So having it in cash is a problem. Gold is another one, and you can store gold and silver in the banks. You can buy gold and silver and have the banks mind it for you, and particularly the London banks will do that. And that's another good one too. And I think that's a fairly good one. But dollars will be valuable. And if there was come a bad crash, unless the American economy goes down, if the Democrats got into power, that might happen. But at the moment, the dollar is probably the safest. And it's the currency oil is traded in. And so having some of them would be useful, but you have the security problem. Now, I would say, you might say to me, why not put it into a bank and let the bank mind it in a dollar account? Well, I think if the crunch comes bad enough, the EU and the Irish government will take everything. They'll say, there's dollars there, we're taking it. They'll take your dollars because they'll be on the prowl for it. I wouldn't trust them one bit. I wouldn't trust our government one bit, or the Fianna Fáil crowd either, or Sinn Féin. They'll take it. They did it in Cyprus. They took 20% of people's deposits. So that's the dilemma you're faced with. And I'm not saying this is going to happen. This time next year we might still be, as Colin McCartney said, muddling on with this, but it's very like a Ponzi scheme. This wind is only one maybe of many Ponzi schemes. We saw the German car manufacturers cheating on emissions. It's all cheating. And this climate change and the means to deal with it is putting such a strain on people, and it's draining out money so much that they're forced to behave criminally to try and overcome the effect. And where it will lead to, I don't know. We're living in the strangest times. Who'd ever think that the Irish government would have to pay the banks 170 million to hold a big wad of money for them? Who'd ever think that day would come? If you told that to people in 1985, they would think you were gone off your rocker. So it's a very, very strange situation. And there is talk of a downturn. What it'll be, and we'll look at it a bit more, and we'll have a bit of enjoyment with it. But as I say, I can't predict it, because if I do that, my credibility will go. I have to be very careful. I haven't done the work. When I get the work done, I'll tell you, I did the work on the windmills. They're finished. They're bankrupt. Eddie O'Connor says they're on their knees. We're vindicated on that, and that's the situation. So it went on longer than I thought, 17 minutes, and I'll let you go at that. And, I meant to tell you too, in the last video, 17 it finished too early. The video, I don't know, I must have hit the wrong button or something happened. It wasn't the battery, funny enough, but the video cut. And that's why it just finishes off. It doesn't really matter. I've got all in here now, and I'm sorry about that too. It's not that easy, especially when you're doing computations. You know, when you're doing figures, you have to be very careful. You have to get them careful in the beginning, and then sort of make sure you deliver them right. Because some chap might be doing a thesis or something in a college, and he might slowly go over your video, and you have to have it fairly right for him. And you have to have your credibility right. I mean, for a long time, people really thought I was a head case saying the windmills was going to collapse. And people will say to me, in the pub here in Kingscourt, a fella said to me one night in here in the pub, you know, they wouldn't do this. They wouldn't be investing in windmills if they weren't going to make a profit. And another man said to me, well, sure, the Japanese are investing, which they did a bit. And no, I don't believe people to be that stupid. But they were that stupid. The best Jewish investors in New York and America were cheated by Bernard Madoff out of 50 billion euros. 50 billion. And he got jailed for it. And people were fooled into the 2008 economic collapse. People lost a fortune because they didn't understand the difference between having shares in a bank and having deposits. They didn't understand the difference, and some lost their shirts, and the ones that had deposits did all right. And these basic things are something that nobody wants to know, and I just want to inform my viewers of that, and so that anyone that bothers looking at me gets something in return for it. And I want to thank you all very much for your viewing, and for looking at me here, and for trying to help me with my dossier and to alert this. Perhaps if we can get government to do something before the wind thing gets too serious, maybe we could save, maybe we could just fend off because it's possible that in an economic downturn or collapse or whatever you may call it, that there'll be a very fine line that they may be able to hold things so you get money out of the bank and that, just about. And it could be the small thing, it could be that 6.5 billion that the Irish wind farms are exposed to that could make the difference in solvency for us and our country and the EU and insolvency. It could be just that bit. So if we could, prevention is always better than cure. If we could stop the AIB from taking out a bond and buying a bond at, what did they say, 5 billion. 5 billion over 5 years. That's 2 bonds. A bond is 500,000. 2 bonds a year. That is terrible. That makes me shriek. I mean, they're not going to ever get a penny off that back. So, right, if they do a bit on retrofitting, they will. So if we could try and warn and alert this, and that's where my dossier and John Dooley's help with that and the accountant, that's where all that comes in useful. Prevention is better than cure, and I'm desperately trying to alert government or somebody that it's time to call a halt. There's something very wrong. So thank you very much. I went on a lot longer than I intended. So thank you very much for looking in. And sure, if you can recommend this, and will you give all my videos a like or thumbs down, up or down? But it's nice to get a wee bit of recognition, and if you do that, I'd very much appreciate it. Thank you very much.